Good morning, guys. Maybe it's officially time to rethink. Maybe it's officially time to rethink the turning around strategy for real. Turning my back to the stream. I couldn't go back into the old stream. And I found out the issue. I connected the wrong USB cable to the audio. This runs through an Apollo. Anyways, point is, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there, and I wish it didn't. But we could start again, I think. And now that it's working, I am going to do the turnaround thing. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Apologize. I'm going to rethink the strategy to turn my back to you guys. So maybe I turn my back to you one last time here today. But let's do this. So like I was saying, markets are up across the board on the S&P. Dollar index is flat. Energy complex is lower. We'll talk about that in a moment. All right, we had some commentary data from Fed's Bostich and Goolsby, which wasn't really relevant because they're 2027 and 2028 voters. Goolsby wins on having the coolest name ever. That's a villain name made for a movie for sure. Fed's bar will speak in a couple minutes time here at 9:15 in the morning. And we had jobless claims. That was the number to watch for in the pre-market. We got 198,000 jobs versus a prior of 207,000 and 215,000 expected this week. So it was a stronger number than expected, meaning the jobs market's improved. Less people filed for unemployment. It's going to definitely go into the Fed conversation piece, but we still have a lot of data to see before their meeting in March, all right, where they're going to probably move on rates. Also, we had Goldman Sachs. Their revenue came out for Q4 2025, and it was kind of mixed bag and nuts. They didn't do as good, up 0.3%. They beat on earnings per share, but they missed on revenue. Morgan Stanley also came out with earnings today, and they blew it out of the water. 268 versus 243 expected on EPS, and revenue 17.9 versus 17.7. So Morgan Stanley is up over 1%, 1.3% in pre-market trading, and that's kind of where we're at. All right, so let's move on to one of the biggest news stories today that isn't even happening in the States. Company TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor, obliterated expectations and kind of confirms the semiconductor boom and eases a little bit of the worries of AI stocks. All right, they came out with 8.3% stronger net profit than expected. All right, revenue was a 20.5% beat, and gross margins went up 370 basis points year over year. That's a shellacking. That's a really good. Well, shellacking is a bad term. That's a beat down on the rest of the market because it's strong. That's a strong number. Q1 guidance, huge, massive Q1 guidance increase. All right, 2026 outlook, nothing but rosy, and based on their income, they can be optimistic, and we have to kind of believe them. So market reaction, TSMC stock is up 5.5% pre-market. ASML, another semiconductor Europe, up 5.5%, which this morning what it does for U.S. equities is it pushes Nasdaq strength up. Nasdaq is a leader and correlator in all equities, so it's pulling the rest of the equities with it as it takes off to the upside. All right, the translation here and all this is the AI build out is real, and it's not just hype. And if we look at this report, it's one data point to support that. All right, I know long-term CapEx is still high and there's risks and we need growth, but growth is showing up. So maybe it calms the market down a little bit on that front. I know that storyline and narratives kind of hasn't appeared so far this year, but that's that. So I want to give you that update. In other news, oil crashes big time, 4.5% lower as Iranian tensions de-escalate. They have no plan to execute protesters, so I know that was one sticking point. Look, guys, I'm not talking about this on a political front. I value all lives. I love all people. And politics aside, the reason for the oil weakness is because there was no military action on Iran. Last night, the Iranian airspace was all cleared out, and that happened in Venezuela as well before the next move. So there were a lot of people on pins and needles, and oil was bid up because it was, Iran's a huge driver of the oil industry. So luckily things are good there, but oil having one of the biggest one-day move in weeks is significant, worthy of note. All right, Trump also puts a 25% tariff on advanced AI chips on the NVIDIA H200 and the AMD MI325X. This does not apply to chips for import to the U.S. for tech supply, so that was a big exclusion. A little bit of ruffling of the feathers there. That kind of eases a little bit of the hype off of the semiconductor for TSMC, but all in all, not a massive news event considering what's been happening and just the next step in the progression of the relationship between China and the U.S. All right. Also, Donald Trump this morning said no plans to remove Jerome Powell. Speaks highly of Kevin Hassett and Kevin Warsh, his potential replacements. He said he would name them early in January last year, but I think plans have changed. We're going to find out a little bit later on of what's going to happen, all right, and who's going to replace Jerome Powell in July of this year. So let's turn around and get to the charts. I kind of rushed through the first part of the news because I had to do it twice. Not your fault. That's my fault for disconnecting and reconnecting the wrong cables. And my gosh, I pretty much cooked that update, but it's what I do at times. Do you guys think it's time to stop turning my back to you when I do this live? I think, this is the third time now in a couple weeks. I think the signs are clear here. I just like the background of the monitors, and I like turning around, and I don't know, it gives it some kind of hype for me, at least. I don't know. If it doesn't do anything for you, then I won't do it. It kind of makes it seem official. All right. On to the trading plan. Okay, here it is. You just saw it. The story. Here's the story. The story for yesterday's U.S. session is pretty simple. We opened at 69.70 quarter over here. All right. We had a short head fake higher and then a lot of sell imbalances at the 64.67 level. You can see these pink lines. These are all stacks or clusters of sell imbalances. Pushed the market lower one wave. Saw a big amount of sell imbalancing at the 44, right at our support, like textbook, confirming bearish bias. Retested the level of the first sell imbalances and continued to continue lower. We sold down. We had a lot of MBO activity, a lot of MBO orders to the downside. Everything was just an easy read for a bearish day. All right, I'm going to be honest with you. Yesterday wasn't a difficult day to read and not really a particularly difficult day to trade either. All right, we hit the daily low at 23 quarter. That was set yesterday. Then what followed was a massive rebound in the afternoon. We combed through the lowest sell imbalance stacks like they weren't even there, retested them, and we closed the prior day session at 67.5. All right, that was the closing level, and room was short all day. We got some good trades to the downside. I don't know what happened in the afternoon in Discord. I don't go on Discord. It feels too video gamey for me, but I am working on a new community platform for you. That's the good news. All right. And it's going to be less chat focused, more feedback and event focused. So yeah, then we got a strong rebound and closed at the 67.5. Overnight, the story is this. It's a very clear one. Overnight, we had early selling again. That took us lower to the overnight low of 49.5, and then pushed way above the prior day cash close. We broke through it, didn't even retest it, and now we're going on to the overnight high at 04.5. That's a really big move. So think about this. We saw a 47-point drop yesterday that reversed. Okay, that's this right here. It's a pretty bullish thing to have a reversal into the closing bell. Remember, bull markets open weak and close strong. Bearish markets open strong and close weak. So it's a pretty bullish close despite the volatility in the downside of the day. Overnight, pretty bullish extension. All in all, we had over 80 points rally from the prior day low to the overnight high. That's a big, big, big bullish drive to the upside from the lows. We also had 1.77 million contracts that traded on ES, the S&P 500 futures, which is the highest all year. We're finally getting some good volume back in the market, and it's January 15th. It's halfway through the first month of the year already. All right, so this is good. This is good. This is a strong bullish move on an acceptance based on volume. So the plan today is simple, but the day is going to be difficult. I don't know how to say it other than that. The plan is very easy. The day is difficult. The plan is this. our flip zone is established at 69.44 to 67. Why is it that the flip zone? Well, I like the way it's contained price action just based on PA, but secondarily, there was a lot of sell imbalances here that hemmed the market in all the way until the close, until the overnight session opened is what it took to really break through it. So it's a good level. The bad news is that level is really far away. That's almost 40 points lower for the flip zone, which means any of these dips here are buyable all the way until there. Until we flip below it, then the bears start to take a little bit more firm and decisive control. So that's why I said it's an easy setup analysis day, harder to trade, because it all comes down to where the heck do you buy it today. All right. Basically, all we're doing here is looking to buy weakness. All right. We're going to keep risk tighter and get long today. That's the plan. Flip zone is so far below, though, that the risk in this is getting long at the wrong spot. All right. The only sell that I'd be looking today is to be fading overextended momentum. And I do still think that after the open, the first move will be down. Then we're going to find some support and blast off again for another run. That's where I'm trying to get into. I don't know where that level is going to be at for the day because that's all order flow based for me. I need to see the book. I need to see the MBO. I need to see the limits. I need to see what actually trades in time and sales. There's some data points I'd like to see, but where could I guess it's going to be? I could guess it'll be around the 88 to 92. If we get down there, that's going to be a pretty decent pullback because that's also a level. If we come down here, it would make sense. If we get much below it, then you're probably looking at a retest down to 76. I would put this as pretty unlikely if we're going to be a bullish day. So watch for the strength of the buyers this morning. It might be one of those days where you have to get long and take a shot and you might be wrong, but not for long. You could be long and you could be wrong, but you can't be long and wrong for long. How do you like that? Trademarkable there. So taking a shot higher and paying up for this trade might make sense today because it looks like we're looking to expand upward, and we'll have one of those days where you don't get in early and you keep chasing and trying to get in and you just don't. And by the time you finally convince yourself it's time to buy at market, you buy the top. Okay, be careful. This kind of days is setting up to be. So I'm looking for PB and jelly pullbacks. 7,000 would be one. I like it there, and then 88 to 89.90 would be the other. All right, that's what I have for you today. I'll tell you this: keep the risk tight, manage that risk, trade like a TRADEPRO, and look for the high probability, low risk entries on order flow. On any pullbacks for today's session, and that's the game plan. I hope you enjoyed today's morning market update. I know we started off a little rough, me talking for like 5 minutes. Nobody could hear what the heck I was saying. I threw off the momentum a little bit, but I think we're back into it. I love you guys a ton. OTM, TTF, appreciate you. Matthias, morning, my brother. I hope you enjoyed this update as well. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll be back here again tomorrow for the last morning market update of the day. And I have a really exciting update on Monday. So if you can, be sure to tune in on Monday because I'm going to give you something really awesome. Something I haven't done in 2.5 years that I can't wait to do again. See you later. Have a great day. And thanks, Matthias. Appreciate you, brother. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And thanks for your understanding with our tech difficulties this morning. It's on me. I own it. I'm going to fix it so it doesn't happen again. Goodbye. Have a great day.